Devin Brosiv and his friend Brian find the creepy remains of a decrepit hairless doll in the woods one day. They want to take a video of the bizarre find, so Devin goes back to get his phone. When he returns a short time later, the doll is not in its original spot.
Brian, I found it. It's moved. Look. Oh my god, that thing is creepy.
Somehow the doll had become entangled under a thick pile of brush within the brief period of time that it took for them to get a phone and come back to the spot. The two friends record it for a bit and then leave. 2 days later, they get a random impulse to check on the doll again. A light snow now covers the forest floor, though they are confident that they can find the doll again easily. This time, in place of where the doll's head and body used to be, they find its missing leg. Either somebody has been ripping dolls apart and moving around the body parts all over the forest, which is creepy enough, or I guess this doll has been doing it on its own. Both are simply terrifying. Michael Pomeroy owns a shop in Plymouth, England, called Something Different, and in this shop is a tall Mickey Mouse doll that is quite different indeed. Michael opens the shop one day to find Mickey Mouse laying face down well over a foot away from its usual spot in a corner. When Michael checks the camera, he is surprised to find the haunted Mickey Mouse toy literally moving on its own. At first I thought it was thrown by someone off camera, but here you can see how it clearly takes a few running steps forward before collapsing. Let me know if you can see it. I have no idea how this could have been faked besides computer effects, but the way the doll moves looks very real to me.
Patrick Janssen goes into the basement to retrieve some belongings, among them a camera, when he sees something out of the corner of his eye. He decides to start recording all around him since he has his camera anyway, and he's surprised by what he finds. Here it is again in slow motion, a black shadow passing from left to right as he walks forward. A shadow that looks different than his own is shown here at 32 seconds, which looks normal and comes from the proper angle. So tell me if Patrick is just good at video editing, or if there's truly a shadow person in his home, because I think something could be living down there rent-free.
A YouTuber named S. Zachariah is exploring a construction site when he comes across a peculiar hole in the ground that somehow feels off. He is curiously poking around with a stick when an anguished voice calls out to him from below, followed by a strong underground wind. This part definitely sounds like a person crying out for help. Soon their cries are replaced by another sound, this one much different than the first. I don't think human vocal cords could ever produce the noises that follow. A final moan is soon drowned out by the chorus of supernatural screeches. Is this person being tormented by evil spirits, or is he himself becoming one of them? A YouTuber who goes by Anne posted this video back in 2014 of her sleepwalking activity at night. Using a webcam, she is able to record herself night after night jolting up while still being completely asleep. People have debated the authenticity of this video in the comments, but Anne swears she still does this every night to this day. I genuinely believe this footage is real, because sleepwalking is a well-documented behavior. Anne says she finds the footage hilarious, but there's something certainly chilling about that blank stare directly into the camera, as she's 100% asleep. In 2007, a YouTuber named Ben Ems uploaded this video made by his friend, Levi, who is reciting some lines for a play when something appears in the window.
I wish you were here.
The resolution is good for a YouTube video that's over 13 years old, so I don't think it's computer effects, but I do think it's planned. This is the reflection of someone who is probably standing behind the camera, not behind Levi. The upper corner gets brighter when they turn on the light to make the reflection appear in the window. So while this video is creepy, I doubt it's as real as Ben claims. A group of British friends are playing catch in a courtyard when one of them sees something strange and points it out to the others. The camera follows his gaze and stops on a pale face looking at them from high above. The sickly person looks at them for a second longer before silently slipping out of view. The group is now creeped out and wants to know who has been spying on them this whole time. They tell the property manager about the face they saw in the window, but she says that it's impossible. The room they are talking about has been locked and unoccupied for quite some time. The manager goes up with them to unlock the door and show them around. They try and find the person, but the place is completely empty. There's no way anyone could have been up there, yet the camera obviously says differently. The mysterious peeper has never been identified. Haunting Jersey uploaded a YouTube video of a girl performing various different gymnastics exercises in her kitchen, along with a friend of hers via a Skype or FaceTime call. The two perform one move, complementing each other, then move on to the next. But what started off as a fun and innocent way to pass the time quickly turns into something frightening. Did you guys see that? So it's right here beside the blender. Yes, right here, this object. It's a paper towel holder, I believe. And obviously terrifies this poor girl here.
What was that? Yeah, that was loud. What was it?
And it gets the attention of even the person that she's on FaceTime with.
The paper towel holder just fell. Whatever, it's fine. Anyway.
And right as soon as she's back to just brush it off as, you know, whatever, don't know what happened, don't care, this thing right over here falls to the ground and just shatters absolutely everywhere. And I feel like if these were both on strings, wouldn't the paper towel holder have knocked that off at the same time? Because both the strings would kind of need to be in the same area. Understandably scared because she just saw something go flying across the room, the girl proceeds to ask her friend if they saw it too, to which they respond, saying that they did, and they mention it sounded loud as well. Amazingly though, the girl is actually able to shake off any sort of fears she may have had by saying everything is fine, and she continues on with more exercises. But when it happens for a second time, she immediately runs for the camera and turns it off. Hopefully this was the first and last time this happened to this poor girl, and hopefully if it did persist, they got out of this house. Pascualita is the name of a mannequin on display at a store in Chihuahua, Mexico that has a bizarre background. Its design and details look so realistic that it's rumored to be the embalmed remains of the store owner's daughter. Nobody was sure if the rumors were real or fake, but then one day, its eyes moved. The lifelike figure appears to be possessed by something paranormal, something strange and creepy from the far sides of our reality. But I want to know what you think. The Southern Arizona Ghost and Paranormal Society teams up with fellow ghost hunters, the Mission Creeps, to investigate the ever-so-haunted Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona. 26 people are said to have lost their lives here over the years, the most famous being a man named Nat Anderson, whose wife disposed of him with 2 rounds after learning of an affair. Now gathered in the historic bedroom of the Oliver House, they call upon Nat Anderson and possibly get a response.
Somebody told us that Nat Anderson was here. Is Nat still here?
This is one of the clearest paranormal voices I've ever heard. It sounds distant, yet in the same room as them. I'm wondering if this was edited in, and I'm especially looking for the opinion of any sound technicians. Here it is one more time. Maybe it's just me, but I'm detecting a hint of sarcasm in the voice, so maybe it was Nat Anderson being funny by saying he wasn't there, or maybe it was a different ghost who is tired of this question altogether. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Adams is trying to sneak into the Chatham Hospital through the basement. This hospital is supposedly well guarded with high-tech security systems and even dogs. I'm not sure what he expects to find inside, but it's probably not these bright yellow chunks of rotting insulation. Hopefully this is normal and not asbestos, a type of building material often used in old hospitals that is known to cause very bad health effects. After about 5 minutes of navigating through dark tunnels and dead ends, he pops open a ceiling panel and drops down inside the main building. The hospital's dirty white rooms are mostly empty. At one point he does come across this mysterious message written backwards in jagged red letters, but I can't make out what it says. Let me know if you can. Less than 2 minutes later, he finds himself running down the hospital hallways as fast as he can.
Alarm, people! Alarm! Alarm!
Exploring with Adams double times it through the basement tunnel system and scrambles above ground. He gets away for now, but hopefully no street cameras tracked his escape. Though there are plenty of strange noises caught on tape, this one is as scary as it is mysterious. Published by Jimmy Dillard in June of 2013, Dillard left his camera in the forest to capture deer. Instead, he captured some strange screaming, grunting, and rocks being thrown at his camera. While Dillard thought it might just be children playing around or a homeless man disturbing the forest, we'll never know the truth because the source of the sound and disturbance never appeared on camera. In watching the video, you can hear a bellow echo throughout the wilderness, almost Tarzan-like in nature. Later in the video, you hear tree branches breaking. Then one of the most chilling noises is that of a growl or a bark. The thing sounds human, but not quite. You can hear whatever it is clamber through the leaves and branches. The whole video is quite unsettling, almost more upsetting, because you can't see the source of the sound. Although from the sounds of it, the creature must be very near. You expect it to jump out at you at any moment. I've been hiking and camping since I was little, and I've heard just about every animal in Georgia, but I've never heard anything like this, Dillard wrote. One thing to keep in mind is that elk and moose don't inhabit this region, but could it be some other animal? Which leaves us to wonder, what in the world is residing in this forest? Redditor Everyone is Human shared the following video to Reddit with a short read-up that says, "My sister-in-law's Ring camera captured this tonight. I have never been a believer, but I am struggling to dismiss this. Please weigh in on it. So let's have a look and see if we can help the uploader in figuring out what was filmed on the camera that night." So I need you to focus your attention. So if we're looking at the center beam here, about dead center on the center beam, and then to the left, about halfway in between this center beam and this beam here. And you just see that thing just move. All right, now it's between these two beams, just huffing it down the sidewalk. Still on camera here, but it looks like whatever this is, it almost looks like the ghost of somebody out for an evening jog, as it starts on the left side of the sidewalk here and just continues down the sidewalk for the entire video. Whatever it is almost appears kind of translucent as well. You'd think if it was just a person, like an actual person out for a jog, it would be a lot more visible on camera. It would just look like a, just a regular person on camera. This almost looks not only translucent, but it's kind of floating in the air. I can definitely see why this uploader, who is usually a skeptic when it comes to this sort of thing, is having a hard time coming up with a logical explanation of what exactly happened on the security footage. It certainly looks to be some sort of ghostly figure out for an evening stroll, but one can only hope that's not not the case, some viewers suggest that it could actually just be the camera that's making an ordinary person look like a ghost. Is this actually a ghost walking around in clear view, or is this just a camera trick on a regular person? I'll let you decide. This stranger in a hockey jersey demands entry. Would you let him in?
Let me in.
Published by Sam Maloney in May of 2022, this Ring doorbell camera captured this man's attempted entry on video. After being dropped off by a white car that drives away, the man walks up the stairs and rings the doorbell a couple of times. He speaks in a strange, froggy voice. He continues to growl at the door.
Let me in. Let me in.
Alexa then asks him what his intentions are, and he responds,
Welcome. This is Alexa. What is the purpose of the visit?
I require entry.
After demanding entry, the man disappears from the camera's sight, but it's not clear where he went. He didn't retreat down the front stairs. Did he find a way in through the door or a window? You and me are left with more questions than answers. A TikToker named Jayla has a strange and creepy window that she attributes to a helpful ghost.
Really want the window to open, Mr. Ghosty. Can you keep opening it for me?
I didn't do anything. Clean my room, did everything that I...
A little bit more, please.
I can't leave. I can't.
I feel like I'm missing some kind of obvious scientific explanation as to how this window is able to do this by itself. It would be weird enough for a window to go down on its own, but one going up is just a whole other level of bizarre. She seems way too calm for it to be a spirit, but maybe she is used to its presence by now. If not, what else could it be? These videos were taken at the annual Global Citizen Music Festival of 2018 in New York City. Everyone is enjoying the late night concert until a crowd of people suddenly start trying to escape and basically cause a stampede. Nobody knows what they are running from, and they won't find out until much later, but everybody is moving fast and afraid for their lives. Their voices are filled with panic, and raw fear fuels their every step as they grab their friends and try to get out as fast they can.
What the just happened? I have no idea what's happening.
The situation becomes all too real when a head officer of the NYPD comes on stage and makes a brief and serious sounding announcement.
Everybody stop! Remain calm! Remain calm! Try and open up the fence in the back! We're trying to get everybody remain calm! Try and move backwards!
Try to move backwards is all the police will say without any further explanation, which sends everyone into even more of an uproar. Those who make it out find the entrance is swarming with emergency vehicles, but still nobody knows why. As it turns out, the source of the commotion was a large steel barricade that fell over and made a loud banging noise. The bang carried throughout the venue and sounded like someone discharging a firearm, which caused a panic. I can only imagine how stressful this must have been for everybody, especially when none of them know what is wrong at the time. Fortunately, a strong police presence was able to keep the evacuation orderly and help stop people from trampling over each other. Paranormal explorers Mackie and Amanda are investigating 2 haunted South California estates in this scary video, the Kellogg House and the Mag House. Published in March of 2022, they are in the Kellogg House when something touches Amanda's arm.
Ooh, something just touched my arm.
What?
Something just touched my arm.
Really?
Super lightly, but I felt it just go like super light.
A moment later, she says it feels like the whole house is shaking. Later, they're sitting in one of the rooms when they hear someone knocking. Mackie also mentions that she heard someone's voice earlier.
Did you hear that? Yeah, I did. I thought I heard someone, and it was like,
It sounded like a lady talking out there. Like, that's probably a worker, but I remember Eli said that he's the only one here.
While in the dining room, they hear a beeping noise. It is not coming from one of their paranormal devices. Not long after, they hear footsteps, and then those footsteps sound like they're running right at them.
Anyone's up? No, really, what is that? I don't know. Is someone upstairs?
Later, they're in a child's bedroom when one of their paranormal devices picks up an EVP, and then a second one. They speak to the spirits using a spirit box, who tell them that they're present.
So? Yes. What? Here. What room are you in? Here.
Then, when they leave the room, the music box is triggered again. Is something following them around these haunted estates? What does it want from them?
This is the master bedroom right here. This is where they wanted us to come, so...
It's still going off. Something's following us in here.
Oh, you're right.
Something just, it was you, it went off, and then it was me, it went off, and then there was...
A nice looking kitchen in the middle of the afternoon is probably one of the least scary settings possible. Well, I thought so too, until this 3-second video proved me wrong. We've all jumped out from around a corner before to scare someone, but I've never really seen a YouTube video create that same feeling until this one. I have to give credit to Tyler1 for keeping the video as basic as possible and still getting the job done. The best place to see ghosts, cemeteries of course, as these paranormal investigators confirm. They posted this haunted cemetery video in October of 2019 writing, 2 different husband and wife paranormal investigators accompany GOCM 1 week apart to investigate a known haunted cemetery. The 45-minute video includes creepy screaming heard in the darkness as the investigators examine tombstones, as well as random voices heard using an EVP, a child laughing. Some of the ghosts even ask for help to leave.
What the?
A reminder to bring your EVP along the next time you enter the cemetery. That is, if you want to communicate with the afterlife that lies beneath those hollowed grounds. A YouTube channel called DYP Official finds some kind of abandoned facility way out of the woods. One climbs to the top of a big blue container and sticks their head over the end, which is scary for reasons I'll get back to soon enough. 2 other large vats grab their attention.
Found a whole thing of sulfuric acid in the woods. Sulfuric acid. Yo, please stop, bro, please. Bro.
He would have kept turning the release valve had they both not shouted at him to stop. I don't know if it was full, but if so, he would have been in deep trouble and might not have survived an acid spray. In the shed, they find a gas mask and large science beakers used to hold chemicals. One of the vials is still full, so they take it outside for a better look until their friend grabs it from them.
Boom!
Luckily for them, it doesn't break. Breathing in any unknown chemical, whether indoors or outdoors, could end up with them on the floor. Inside of an abandoned building, they find a label that got me curious. I googled what polyseed inoculum is, and the answer sheds light on what this facility really is. Basically, this is used to break down biological waste. They've been playing around in a biological waste treatment center the whole time, touching things that ordinarily require a full biohazard suit to handle. Whatever chemicals they were handling probably were not safe, and the air quality can't be much better. The type of place that could really mess you up after maybe a few visits. In other words, certainly not a place where you'd ever want to stick your face over an old chemical vat and take a big whiff. Check out one of the scariest things caught on CCTV video at this haunted restaurant. It's a quiet Wednesday evening with hardly any customers and only a few employees clocked in. No one is nearby when this glass lurches forward in a jerky movement, so subtle that it's hard to see at first. The manager zooms in because they can't believe what they are seeing, and sure enough, 4 seconds later, the glass moves by itself again and tips over. They think a ghost moved the object, but I'm not so sure. I know if the bottom was wet, then condensation could have made it move across the counter on its own. So is this a ghost moving objects, or just basic physics in action? The CCTV moment is too creepy for me to easily decide. A paranormal investigator known only as Survivor is on his way to go exploring an abandoned haunted cottage on the outskirts of town. 1 o'clock in the morning is when he sees, in his words, a strange grandmother on an abandoned road. There is no reason for anybody to be walking miles from town so late at night, let alone a senior, so he pulls over to see if she needs any help. To his surprise, the woman who was just there moments ago has mysteriously disappeared. He has a really bad feeling, so he pulls over at the side of the road. What he finds next has him wondering if this was a real ghost sighting caught on video. He finds nothing but an old tattered cloth where the woman was last sighted. It looks like it could just be a piece of roadside trash like a tarp or something. Take another look. Was this item really what her ghost was wearing? Night Owl 2007 published this video of a creepy sewer creature in February of 2018. In the video, some guys are walking along the road at night when they stop at a big heavy manhole cover and proceed to enter into the sewer. They remember how scary the sewer is, long dark tunnels, loud echoes. In order to see how deep one of the tunnels goes, the crew cracks a neon stick light and, turning off all other light sources, throws it into the tunnel. The tunnel must be deep, but the depths do terminate, as you can still see a tiny pinprick of light in the distance. As they're playing around with the neon sticks, the camera catches a skull-like face peeking over one of the crew's shoulders.
I don't think you're throwing out enough light here.
Anything?
What the
It looks like a ghoulish mask leering behind him, but when the guy moves out of the way and the cameraman casts his camera beyond, there's nothing there. Needless to say, the entire crew springs into action, racing out of that sewer like no one's business. There is a roaring sound at the end, echoing as they jet out of the tunnel. We can assume they made it out alive, otherwise we wouldn't have this video to show for it. When you can command a door to open and close, you may just have the gift, published by the Scottish Ghost Company. In February of 2022, this investigation of an industrial complex turned super creepy when the investigators' commands were granted. The pair is alone in the warehouse aside from the ghosts. You can hear them communicating via the spirit box in the adjacent hangar throughout the video. The pair approaches a door and asks the spirit to open it if he or she is still with them.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
In answer, the door slowly swings open. A moment later, when asked to close the door, the spirit acquiesces, slamming the door shut.
Really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Many in the comments call this activity mind-blowing and wonder if it's real. Is this a portal to another world? Step on through if you dare.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime. and this individual is just sitting out here staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. Instead, just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Qué? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa?
¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off.
¿Le pasa algo?
Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, it doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time. This child is learning how to play peekaboo when she apparently loses her balance and topples over.
Lexi!
Except when you take a closer look, you'll see that the girl's feet appear to be firmly planted on the ground the entire time. Upon closer inspection, it looks as if she falls over unnaturally, almost like she's being shoved. There's now a fierce online debate as to whether this child was pushed by an invisible force or merely fell over by accident. I know that kids don't have the best balance, so she could have fallen over on her own, but the way she takes a couple steps back also makes me think that something paranormal is at play here. Maintenance technician is servicing the famous Tower of Terror ride one day all alone. According to the surveillance video, however, he may not have been so alone after all. A phantom-like figure briefly appears in the seat directly behind the mechanic, but he doesn't notice and keeps going down a safety checklist of some sort. Then, about a minute later, look what happens about 4 chairs to the left of where he's sitting. Some people are saying that this is a camera malfunction, but others believe a spirit was trying to get his attention twice and failed. I did some research and found that the Tower of Terror ride has apparently caused a small number of reported heart and brain problems over the years since 2005. Let me know if you think one of these unfortunate passengers is now haunting the ride. A paranormal investigator named Ankur Kashyap knows of a spooky house nearby that's as haunted as it is abandoned, or so the local legends say. He and his friends wait until after dark to explore the house to avoid getting caught and to increase their odds of getting a real ghost sighting on camera. They sneak over the gate and are too busy filming an introduction to notice their first paranormal encounter of the night in the form of a yellow ghost orb. Translate this part if you can, because I feel like whatever he says is what gets the attention of the spirit world.
So आज मैं आ रखा हूँ अपने दोस्त निखिल की कॉलोनी में और मैं आ रखा हूँ एक haunted house पे. ये वाला haunted house मेरे दोस्त निखिल की.
And look, Ankur even subconsciously leans away seconds before the orb touches him, almost like some part of him senses an unwanted presence is near. Meanwhile, a pair of oversized eyes of something, possibly a ghost in the window, appear at 2 minutes and 51 seconds as they head through a basement entrance. Down this creepy, narrow hallway is a hidden room that seems out of place and has no reason to be here. Something about the discovery freaks them out, and they decide not to see what other secret rooms this small space holds. Instead, they go straight to the center of the house and perform some kind of ghost summoning ceremony with candles. Towards the end of the ritual, they sense a spirit slip into the room with them, and a mysterious shadow moves over them, or perhaps even through them, while at the same time the camera refuses to go back into focus. It's creepy, but I don't know why the camera person doesn't look over to get the ghost on camera. He misses the moment, so it's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever, but the random moving shadow is pretty bizarre. And there's still one more odd encounter left. The group is soon surprised to find that the door refuses to budge, even though it's clearly unlocked. So either they are faking this movement, or else the haunted house is seriously refusing to let them leave. Just when the ghost hunters are getting anxiety and really starting to panic. A ghost slams a door in the distance, something has left the building, and the place feels abandoned once more, at least for the time being. Their door is no longer locked, and so the perplexed paranormal explorers take the hint and quietly let themselves out. They could have been pretending that the door was locked, however the ghost orb, the moving shadow, and the ghost slamming a door is all evidence of the paranormal in my opinion. A YouTuber named CJ Powers eagerly records the final stages of a drone project he and his group have been working on together. They are just about to fire it up when his friend Christian makes a nervous joke about the drone coming to life and attacking.
It's gonna go rogue and it's gonna kill her.
Roughly 2 minutes later, his joke becomes prophecy.
Smile at the camera.
Watch again and you'll see the sharp propeller swing towards Christian's face and neck at a high rate of speed. The loud motor gives Christian just enough of a heads up to barely move out of the way. They all laugh about it later, but look again and you'll see how close the drone was from slicing something vital and taking his life. While visiting Old Smoky Mountain Cemetery, YouTube crew the G-Team Paranormal are quickly met with paranormal activity. Straight away they get a reading on their paranormal device.
Right there. Wow. This is incredible.
And that reading becomes more distinct.
Look.
Yep.
Oh, I see him.
Mm-hmm.
You see him?
I see them. Almost looks like a third person.
The spirits seem to be congregating next to their headstones.
Someone's standing next to the headstone.
Right next to the headstone, yes.
Leaning on it or something.
Although the camera doesn't pick it up clearly, the ladies hear footsteps approaching.
She hears footsteps crunching. I hope it ain't a bear coming. Oh, I did.
Then, while in their vehicle, the car's reverse sensor is triggered, but there's no one behind them.
What?
What the hell?
I don't know. What is going on? It's sensing something behind us. I don't know.
There's a mysterious whisper in the darkness here, though. And before they know it, they've picked up a hitchhiking spirit.
Made me want to come here. Oh, why did all my just fall? My up here on my visor just kind of flew down. What the hell?
Patty even seems to spot one on the road.
Whoa, I'm not even gonna back up. There was somebody standing back there in a white shirt. I'm not even kidding you. Unless I'm not gonna back up, guys. I can't.
I didn't see anything, but something strange is definitely going on here. Whether a spirit has attached or not is anyone's guess. Driving in the Himalayas can be beautiful, unless you're opposite an angry driver. Published by Extreme Out in July of 2016, this driver was descending the dangerous Rotang Pass from Manali to Leh when he crossed paths with a heavy truck moving in the opposite direction. The driver notes that everyone should be patient in such conditions because impatience can lead to lives lost. They didn't find patience in this truck driver though. The man writes that he dipped his lights on the narrow mountain road to indicate that the truck and car ahead should stop and let him pass if they had a wider road. The truck did not signal back, but the car indicated that there was space to cross and so he should move forward. After moving to the side, the car passes easily, but the truck is taking its time, which is understandable as you can see how bumpy the terrain is. However, it became clear that the truck driver apparently wasn't going to pass at all. After sitting for a moment, the uploader starts to reverse to give the truck a wider berth, and instead the truck drives right at him. He raises his hand for the truck driver to stop and then continues to back up on the dangerous road, which he notes is not easy. Again, instead of passing, the truck is directed at him. The game continues for a time until finally the truck passes. They stopped him to argue, wondering why he acted the way he did. Was it a threat out of spite, or did he really not have room to pass? From this angle, we will never know. A YouTuber named Panji Petualan is searching for frogs with his friends late at night along with anything else they can find. The team has their head down to look for prey, but at 21 minutes and 4 seconds, Panji looks up for the briefest of moments and catches this bipedal creature as it sprints away from the light. It happens so fast that they don't even appear to see it at first. It appears to be a pale white and instinctively flees from the light, which makes sense for a nocturnal creature to do. It does not make a sound as it moves, despite being the size of a human and a very close distance away. A forest and nighttime is a terrible combination. That's what these men find when they set out into the area jungle in the darkness. Facebook user Kaiza Sharam shared this video of a peaceful walk through the moonlit forest. Just kidding, this is anything but peaceful. A couple minutes into the footage, a man points out something lurking amongst the trees, similar to another entry in this list. It appears like a woman with long black hair dressed in white. They keep their distance, only pointing out the figure to the camera. Later, they follow her into an abandoned building. Her long hair disappears around a corner. When they turn the corner, she's vanished. They search through the dark building, but don't cross paths with her again. That is, until they enter the dark and expansive forest, they spot a strange figure. It's not the woman, but appears to be something wrapped in a white sheet. When the man approaches to peer inside, the thing moves. What is it? Could it be some sort of ceremonial figure left to these men by the dark-haired witch? Whatever it is, it bows to the man again as he probes it and then walks away. What do you think this might be? What's inside? I don't think I would unwrap this gift. While exploring the Royal Arcade in Keighley in the UK, the YouTube team Staffordshire Paranormal Explorers encounters an abundance of paranormal activity. As they communicate with the spirits, they hear what sounds like a door moving.
We heard a dragging noise in here before, or possible footsteps shuffling.
What was that?
They hear unexplained taps and knocks.
Got 2 knocks?
Yeah. It was like dun dun.
As they continue throughout the place, a disembodied whistle or whisper is heard.
Okay, spirits, we know you're here with us now.
And not long after, 2 thuds are heard.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Later, a distinct whistle sounds.
Heard a whistle then.
In my opinion, this place is creepy enough without all the whispers and whistles, but the paranormal activity really puts it over the edge. If you think you're safe in your own home, think again. Posted by Call Me Ace here to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains, this is a video of a random guy walking up to my brother's home in Houston, Texas. The stranger flashed their flashlight through my brother's front door window and camera. The video shows a man possibly casing the place. If that is what he's doing, he isn't taking many precautions, as he's not wearing a mask of any kind to hide his identity, nor does he take any notice at first of the security camera that's caught him red-handed handed. If he was trying to fly under the radar, he's doing a terrible job at it. Not only does he flash a flashlight directly into the potential target's home, but he looks squarely into the security camera, capturing his headshot straight on. Right before shining the flashlight into the camera's face too, Redditor Stark Burrito asks, was he pointing the flashlight into the camera to obscure himself? Bit late, buddy. Other Redditors recommended that the homeowner alert other neighbors to the incident, as well as the neighborhood watch and local authorities. It might prevent the unknown person from taking this further. While you may not have to worry about those you know entering into your home, you should definitely worry about randos. We're gonna analyze some strange things on this list, but this is perhaps the clearest visually. This YouTuber published 3 videos of this sighting in April of 2014, writing, original raw footage found of the Turkey UFO seen by dozens of residents between 2007 and 2009. The clip is perhaps one of the clearest I've seen in recent memory. Its shape is unlike that of any man-made air vehicle, as are its lights, which slant along the wings of the aircraft. The clip captures a close-up as well as footage of the object at a distance. It's certainly a strange sight in the sky over Turkey, with some in the YouTube comments calling it the real thing, and one of the most important captures ever. Most in the comments rave at the quality of the image, being that most UFO captures are blurry, low-quality footage. With nearly 6 minutes in this video clip, and 2 other clips to follow, we're hard put to explain what this could be but the real thing. In the Dominican Republic in April 2013, uploader DR Local encountered a mysterious sea creature during a scooter-powered night scuba dive. The time was 9:15 p.m., while the depth was 20 meters. The creature was reportedly bony, 3/4 of a foot long, with a small head and sharp teeth. It also had translucent fins and a purple and steel sheen-colored body. The mysterious creature swam both backwards and forwards. The dorsal fin helped it maneuver both directions and propelled it at higher speeds moving forwards, which made it appear more eel-like rather than blade-shaped. According to the uploader, what could this eel-like creature be? YouTube commenters, of course, are full of suggestions. Doom Octopus said it looked like a young oarfish, while Zane Reavers said it was a cutlass fish. Both of these seem plausible, but Sampal's suggestion seems to be on the nose. It's a hairtail, very common around Sydney, Australia, usually fished at night by a very dedicated fisherman, very sharp teeth, and not too bad to eat. Whatever the thing is, I wouldn't want to run into it in the depths of the sea at night. These fishermen were casting into the ocean waters of Palm Beach, Florida, when a massive potential megalodon shark comes straight at their boat. The gigantic shark is easily the same size as their entire boat and could flip them if only it knew how. The sea creature faces them head on and gives the fishermen a great view of its Goliath physique as they have a tense standoff. Then it quickly snatches up the bait and retreats back to the depths below. It's hard to make out a lot of detail because there is somewhat of a glare, but I have little doubt that this video is real. Let me know if you have any idea as to what kind of shark this could possibly be. If you're going to rent a historic home, don't expect to get any sleep. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Securius Cymbalum was staying at a 500-year-old cottage when something odd happened. The light shade moved outward on its own. This prompted the Redditor's dog to freak out. He's seen in the video staring at something and whining for several minutes. What is this dog seeing that's invisible to the human eye? Many in the comments describe similar experiences with their dogs. Some look in a certain corner of the room, others in the hallway, and they don't budge. Others say many of their ghost encounters were with their dog. So what is it about the spirit world and animal senses? What are they seeing that we don't? I think it may forever remain a mystery. two friends think they may have recorded the presence of a spirit when they entered a graveyard late at night. Here's their evidence. Look at the back row of tombstones on the right and focus on the one that's closest to the road.
I don't really see what's in front of it. Alternation off.
An intense source of light plays over the gravestone. It could be a reflection of their headlights bouncing off some glass, but something seems a little off about the angle. And if this gravestone was not made of glass, then there's absolutely no explanation for this video. Let me know if you think this is real, or if they got fooled by their own car.
I don't really see what's in front of it.
A popular YouTuber named Mikey021 has reason to believe his house in Brazil is really haunted. He says it's not uncommon for objects to go moving on their own. Tell me if you think this home experiment is real or not. This video might be a spirit, or he could be blowing plastic cups off his counter with a hair dryer. It looks paranormal until you realize it could simply be wind. If some heavier objects were caught on camera from a different angle, showing both sides of the counter, then I would be more readily convinced, but as it stands, I'm just not sure if his house is haunted. Everyone has a smartphone nowadays. This means that at a moment's notice, any scary encounter with a stranger can be caught on video with the press of a button. YouTuber Savage Squad 1 published one of these scary stranger encounters in November of 2016. He wrote in the video's description, "Sorry if I didn't film the whole thing, I was running." Running from what? The footage starts in the middle of things and shows a group of teenage boys gathered on top of a children's toy at a park. A woman is seen approaching them in order to confront them. One of the boys apparently had said something rude, so rude that she felt the need to threaten him with a knife. Although the video didn't capture the entire encounter, it appears as though one of the boys said something about how he himself was raised. He badmouthed his upbringing and his parents. The woman mentions this and then says to remember that people carry knives.
You gonna hide? Are you gonna stay up there? God, you were raised pretty bad, weren't you? I don't think so. I would think so. Yeah, so remember that people carry knives? And when you keep talking about your own parents.
And she pulls out her little switchblade to remind them. But once it is out, the video ends. We don't know if there was a big showdown or not, but from what the uploader said, the kids ran away. Can you blame them? A YouTuber named JPays57 catches a 1.5-minute long slew of paranormal activity in a solid white room that's mostly bare. First a paper flies up, and then with no one in the room, mind you, a woman's voice says a single word I wanted you to interpret. As for the piece of paper moving, I don't hear the wind, and besides that, the paper actually blows towards the window, so that explanation wouldn't really make sense. A toolbox and a closet open at once, which could be coordinated between two people, but there's nobody in the room to pick up the camera and see who's in there. I hear a strange otherworldly sigh. Do you? It sounds upset, and nothing like the woman's voice before. The closet door closes, and then the door closes shortly after. Somebody could be on the other side of the closet, but nobody is on either side of the door. I don't see any fishing wire tied around the knob, but I admit it's kind of too far away to tell, so tell me if you're convinced. Take a look at this picture of Patty and Joe Martinez. Do you see anything wrong? Maybe if I circle it for you, it will help. This hideous creature over his shoulder looks like a dog at first, but its nose is too flat and pushed in, and the top row of human teeth form a snickering sneer. The yellow eyes are open as wide as possible, and there's a tiny pupil at the very bottom, meaning it is looking down at you. Photo experts have verified this picture is real, which is absolutely terrifying. After all, there's no reason for anything that scary to be anywhere near a wedding anniversary, especially behind you. The Martinez twins are both excited about moving into a new house with an old friend. They are arguing over which rooms belong to who, when one of them notices a locked door leading to an unexplored part of the house. None of them have a key, so they pick the lock and step into a plain room with an empty chair. The old chair gives off a creepy vibe. It must have belonged to one of the previous owners. They are talking about what to do with it when suddenly they notice an attic entrance that needs to be checked out. They forget about the chair for now and climb a wooden ladder into a darkened attic, even though the insulation is making them cough, and one false step could send them falling through the ceiling. The group is determined to get to the other side and see what they can find. A small box is waiting for them at the end of their crawl space, but they don't open it up right away, choosing to look at a pile of old magazines from the 1920s instead. When they turn their attention back to the box, they find this old mysterious broken thing inside.
Bro, there's like a toy, bro. It works from here. Wait.
The others try to stop him, but it's too late. An eerie song fills the empty, dark attic space, perhaps for the first time in many years.
That's creepy. Bro, you wanna hold it? Oh wow, that's creepy.
There's an old Bible even farther back in the attic, but when the music box starts playing a few more notes all by itself, they decide they've seen enough and leave quick.
I stop it. Wow, that's creepy. Okay, let's go.
All of these things seem like the perfect indications of a classic haunting that I certainly would want nothing to do with, but I'm curious what you think. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in August of 2021, Dennis set up cameras in a bunker hidden beneath a school, and this abandoned bunker in Germany has some mysteries up its sleeve. One camera captures a door slowly opening. In another room in the school above, Dennis asks for a sign that someone's here, and this is the response. In the bunker, a blast makes Dennis jump. It sounds like it's coming from this box. Later, the light from his camera shuts off, and he's left in the darkness. Through the spirit box, the spirits tell him it's a trap. Strange carnival-like music seems to be coming from the spirit box. As Dennis's lights continue to malfunction, he has no escape. The door to the room is locked, and he can't get it open. He is in the darkness again with only a lighter to keep him company, while something unknown growls from the shadows. Later, he is told through the spirit box not to come. He finds the previously locked door mysteriously open to him. After racing out of there with his equipment, we can only imagine that he heeded the spirit's advice and never returned, which is a smart call. You may be a skeptic, but if you had to choose a place with all the makings of a haunting, it would probably be a hospital. After all, hospitals are the setting in which many souls depart this earth and enter the afterlife, whatever that may be, but sometimes it seems they stay. Published to YouTube in February of 2020, this clip is part of a series of clips entitled The Haunted Hospital Case. The footage shows a hospital that appears to be empty. A trash can stands in the corner and its lid starts to flip repeatedly. The lid doesn't appear to be mechanical, so who or what is causing it to rotate? But it's not just the lid. Watch beyond. A paranormal figure jogs past. The figure seems to be in the shape of a young girl. However, she is entirely cast in shadow, apart from a small blip of white sneakers. Do you think this might be one of the aforementioned souls? If so, where is she running off to? Or what is she running from? If you hear this sound, run for cover. Rays of light shine upward in this video, published to Paranormal World in December of 2020. But that's not the only oddity in this clip. Turn the sound on full volume and you'll be blasted into the midst of a prehistoric jungle. The light then turns into what looks to be a winged figure, and the sound becomes more symphonic. The creature forms a sphere before its wings reappear, perhaps preparing for takeoff. The man filming takes this as his cue to leave, but judging with a creature like this, he can run but he can't hide. The shadows are coming for you. Published by ILM and Bono Paranormal in July of 2021. This creepy clip shows you are never as alone as you think. A man is walking through an abandoned building and his camera scans the room. Look carefully in the window pane. A shadow figure passes by, outlined against the glass. It's unclear if the figure is outside walking past or inside being reflected, but all I do know is the cameraman has company. If I were him, I'd be getting out of there ASAP. The Menzier Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, claims to be one of the most haunted areas in the entire state, and there are plenty of videos to back up this statement. One of these videos involves a brother and sister who both suddenly get a strange feeling from the building and decide to start recording. They are exploring a very small and cramped area of the hotel. As they are discussing the possibilities out loud, the woman suddenly announces that she is extremely uncomfortable. You can't see it very well at first, but soon the camera zooms in and reveals 3 deep scratches along the woman's bare shoulder. They look fresh and sting badly. She says that she was simply sitting on the steps for just one moment, and the jagged marks appeared as soon as she stood up. Judging from this video, it looks as though she may have been literally cut by an angry ghost. This Area 51 video appears to capture no less than 5 bright lights traveling in a tight cluster. It kind of looks like the government could be testing military-grade flares at first, until the lights mysteriously stop in midair, hover for a bit, and then move in the exact opposite direction. These sophisticated flight patterns seem to suggest that they are piloted by intelligent beings. At the 1 minute mark, all the lights grow intensely bright and almost meld into one solid form, at which point a smaller piece breaks off and moves upwards. This looks like no aircraft that has ever existed before, and as far as many are concerned, it can only be one of 2 options: a top secret government prototype, or else actual aliens. First of all, what is a homunculus? The dictionary states that it's a very small human or humanoid creature. Wizzo97 uploaded this video instructing viewers how to make a homunculus in April of 2016. The video is in Russian, so bear with me. The man first rubs something that looks like isopropyl on an egg with a cotton ball. He then pokes the egg, injecting it with some substance. He then puts a band-aid over the hole in the egg and then places it inside a small plastic container. Next, he places it inside a beanie hat, likely to keep it warm. Later, he cracks the egg open with a knife, emptying the contents into the plastic dish. Out of the ooze, he picks up a larvae-looking creature with his tongs. At first, it remains still, then it starts moving around.
Движение появилось. Похоже, он пришел в себя. Любопытно. Блять!
not sure what he was expecting. After all, he was creating a homunculus. All that is left of the humanoid is a small stain. Simply bizarre, confusing, and intriguing at the same time. Paranormal explorer Thiago Ferracao returns to the Benzedeiras house in this scary video, published in May of 2022. Legend has it that Maria began by doing good, blessing people, but ended by taking her own life after she started doing dark magic rituals. Ever since, her house has been haunted, and Thiago is on a mission to spend the night there. As he enters, someone is standing in an adjacent room. Before he can step inside, the door slams in his face. Is it Maria?
Meu Deus! Ai, foi isso?
When Thiago pushes his way into the room, no one is there. Checking out the corner in which she was standing, they hear an animal in the room.
Cara, tem bicho ali, ó. Olha, uma aranha. Você tá vendo? Sim.
Then it seems like the animal goes after Thiago. Later, as they attempt to communicate with Maria via a spirit box, they hear this.
Que foi isso? Vai.
They continue throughout the house, trying to convince Maria that they are not there to hurt her, but she does not seem convinced.
Thiago.
When the door finally stops banging, they open it. They leave the house wishing Maria peace, but does she wish peace upon them? When inanimate objects start taking life around your home, maybe your house is cursed a la Beauty and the Beast, or maybe it's haunted by a poltergeist. Posted to YouTube by Horrifying Nightmares in January of 2013, the YouTuber explains, last week we captured footage of a bull scooting across the table. Some said it was a string, but this time the bull flew into the air, cups scooted across the table, and the entire table shook. Noting that the video speaks for itself, let's see if it does. The video shows a little boy playing at a table. In front of him is a red bowl with something inside. The boy plays for a time without incident, but the minute he walks away from the table, the bowl slides on its own to the left. In a later clip, the same red bowl flies from the table, another blue bowl and green cup slide across it, then the table jumps up, shaken by the paranormal. Would you be interested in eating at this poltergeist table? I think I'm gonna pass. We've all been there. It's a stormy night. Every sound in the house is an evil entity vying for your soul. That must have been what this man was feeling when he saw this happen in his dining room on a stormy night. The clip shows a man enter his dining room, which appears completely normal. Every chair in place. He enters his laundry room, then casts the camera down the stairs. It appears that something must have happened to cause him to search his house. He says hello down the stairs. Is someone or something there? He decides to go into his basement to investigate. The wooden steps are incredibly rickety. As he's nearing the bottom, a terrifying racket is heard upstairs. He runs for his life, only to find his kitchen chairs precariously stacked up, balanced one on top of the other. The dining room light is swinging around. The shot is still as the man crosses the room and stands frozen in fear at this ominous sight. The overhead light continues to swing, and nothing is there. There's something especially uneasy about the stacking of this man's furniture. Part of that uneasiness comes from the fact that no human could have done this particular building job in the short period of time that the man was away. Who do you think did it? Or what? Paranormal explorers Mackie and Amanda are investigating two haunted South California estates in this scary video, the Kellogg House and the Mag House. Published in March of 2022, they are in the Kellogg House when something touches Amanda's arm.
Oh, something just touched my arm.
What?
Something just touched my arm.
Really?
Super lightly, but I felt it just go like.
Like super like.
A moment later, she says it feels like the whole house is shaking. Later, they're sitting in one of the rooms when they hear someone knocking. Mackie also mentions that she heard someone's voice earlier.
Did you hear that? Yeah, I did. I thought I heard someone. And it was like, it sounded like a lady talking out there. Like that's probably a worker, but I remember Eli said how he's the only one here.
While in the dining room, they hear a beeping noise. It is not coming from one of their paranormal devices. Not long after, they hear footsteps, and then those footsteps sound like they're running right at them.
Anyone's up? No, really, what is that? I don't know. Is someone upstairs?
Later, they're in a child's bedroom when one of their paranormal devices picks up an EVP and then a second one. They speak to the spirits using a spirit box who tell them that they're present.
So, yes.
Yes. What? Here. Mm-hmm. What room are you in?
Here.
Then when they leave the room, the music box is triggered again. Is something following them around these haunted estates? What does it want from them?
This is the master bedroom right here. This is where they wanted us to come, so...
It's still going off. Something's following us in here.
Oh, you're right.
Something just, it was you, it went off, and then it was me, it went off, and then there was...
Here, 8 Booth jumps from 129 feet in the air. If any part of his body had so much as graced the pier, then that would have been the end of 8 Booth, and that's assuming that he could have gotten out of the water in time. Smallmouth Crush is making a fishing video on the Potomac River near Washington, D.C. He's drifting by when further down the riverbank something strange catches his eye. A head is sticking out of the water, long black hair. Her back is to him. He looks at the head for a long time, unable to mentally process what he's seeing and not sure what to do. He gives the object a poke just to make sure it is what he fears. It has a face and it is exactly what he's afraid of. I think we are all thinking it's the same thing, especially from this distance, but when he pokes at it some more, an artificial neck joint pops free from the mud. This is a mannequin head, not a real one.
Dude, what is happening? Look at this thing. This is nasty.
Not finding a body is a relief, I suppose, but it also begs the question as to why anyone would take a blindfolded mannequin head out into the woods in the first place. I've heard of people simulating their demented desires onto mannequins before moving on to the real thing as part of their transformation into a full-blown psycho. There's a lot of creepy people out there, I guess. And to further prove my point, he looks up to find something even more sickening nearby.
Look at that freaky thing. I'm out of here.
It looks like somebody has been using this spot to do some pretty twisted fantasizing, and as he speeds away, I can't help but wonder, what if that's not a doll? A YouTuber named Kamadina is recording his sister and parents in a parking lot while on vacation when he gets the strange and eerie sensation that he is being watched. He turns around and walks for a bit in the direction that he feels he is being watched from, and then he zooms in. Sure enough, this pale figure stands facing him from afar. He turns around to go back into his hotel, but the feeling of eyes upon him returns. He turns around to take in the figure one last time, who is still standing in the same spot far away from all of the cars and everything else of interest. Their white outfit looks suspiciously bright given the low lighting.
That was weird. Wait a minute.
Kamadina hasn't a clue as to what this could be, or if one day he will see it again soon, much closer next time. It's a dreary and overcast day when a YouTuber named Sharby straps a GoPro on his head and heads into an abandoned graveyard with his friends. This eerie graveyard is surrounded by woods and is in the middle of nowhere, as Sharby puts it, and they are hoping to find some adventure. They are checking out old headstones and goofing off when a frightening discovery suddenly changes the mood.
What? Is that a knife, dude?
It appears to be a rusty old crowbar that was perhaps used to dig up graves. Both Sharby and his friend instantly get a bad feeling, and Sharby throws it to the ground, suddenly wanting nothing to do with the ancient object. They keep exploring and eventually come across a grave from 1811. The unshakable feeling of dread just won't go away, and suddenly it begins to snow, which is very odd weather for October. Not too far away, they discovered a battered doll and get seriously freaked out by its mere presence.
Let's get the f out of here, man. No, okay, that's it.
Some branches snap in the nearby woods, and they quickly flee before they can find out what was near them. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.